right, so everybody should have a tracing of a hot air balloon, right? This hot air balloon we have done with the pen tool. So I'm looking at mine right now. I am going to zoom out, Command minus, or I'm going to pretend to zoom out. Yes. And I'm going to make, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be so flabbergasted, but I'm going to make some new artboards so that I can play around with this guy. New artboard. Yep. All right. So in order to select lots of things, there's a few different ways that you can select multiple things. And you've probably figured this out now, but if not, that's okay. I'm going to show you. Last week when we were working on this, if you guys recall, I locked this image, the picture that I traced over. So when I click and drag, that's not going to be selected. But I'm going to click, I'm using just my regular selection arrow, and I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to drag over the whole thing. So now you can see there is a box, and all of those lines that I made are blue. That means that they're selected. A very much slower way to do this would be to click on a line and hold shift and click on another line and do that all over the whole thing. So that would take way longer. You don't want to do that. But you can do that. You can just, if you want to select things that are only a few things, so you can't click and drag, that's a way of doing it. Or say I didn't want one of these lines I just didn't want to select. While all of these are selected, I can hold shift and click. And so now that line is no longer selected. You can't really see, but it's black. And if I want to reselect it, I'll hold shift, and that way I don't have to deselect everything and then reselect it. So holding shift allows you to select multiple things at one time. So if I wanted to select this and then I also wanted to select this guy, I would just hold shift and click on both of them. And now both of them are connected and I can move them around. So I'm going to delete those guys. So I'm going to select all of my hot air balloon, and I want to make a couple of these because I'm going to play with some color. So now I'm going to click, with all of them selected, I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to hold option, and that means that whoa, I just zoomed way out. Okay, well that's okay, we'll go back in. But I'm holding option while I'm clicking and dragging, and that means it's duplicating it. So I still have all my lines on the hot air balloon. Those still exist. And now I have another set of those lines over here. And I'm going to do that again. I want another one, option. But I want to fit multiple on one page. So I'm going to shrink this actually. And I'm going to shrink it while holding shift. That means it's going to maintain the same proportions. So now I have another one. I'm going to do another one, option. All right, so now I have 3 that I can work with. You can make more if you want. You may want to duplicate them once they're colored in too. Okay, so does everyone have at least 3 hot air balloons? Okay. So you'll have to reselect them. So when you click and drag, I don't know how it looks like on the mouse, but you want to click and drag over. Yep. And now you're going to hold shift and click on the picture because you don't want the picture. Yep. So now just those lines are duplicated. Nope, now you're going to click on those lines and drag away and hold option. And that's going to make another one. Yep. Do that again. Yep. Beautiful. And now click and pull and hold Option. Yep. So that's making a copy. Yep, there you go. You have to hold Option until you let go. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm really interested in doing this. Press Command Z. And that's okay. So when you just dragged it, you were dragging it over here, so you just go down to there. So make sure you capture the whole thing. And now we're going to click and drag it now. Oops. So we'll get it on the path and now Option. Yep. So if you do that again, yep. You just have to have it your mouse hovering over the line. Okay, so we want to select all of these lines, okay? We're going to take our selection key. You can watch this too. So you're going to take your selection tool and you're going to drag over all of that. See how there's that really light gray box? Now all of them are selected. Okay. And now you put your, yeah, that will copy and paste it too. So now I'm dragging this and I'm holding Option. And the only thing you have to make sure of is that when you're moving it, like when it's all selected and you're moving it, that your selection key is over the path. Because if you were to click over here and drag, it would just be selected. Okay? You can also, like what David just said, you can do Command C, and Command V. Oh, okay. Okay, so that is not a problem at all, but I'll show you how to lock the image in now. But if you were to, it doesn't matter if it's not locked. We can still click and drag over everything, and then hold. So right now, this is selected too, and you don't want to copy that. So you can do Shift, click on that, and now the picture is no longer selected. But to do that, you can go to Layers, that thing right there. Yep. And put that arrow down. And if you scroll down, Image, click on Image, yep. And if you, next to the eyeball, if you look that box next to the eyeball, yep. Anybody else need help copying? Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to use the Live Paint tool. You guys will be working with color more when I introduce the element of design color. But for now, this is just a very, this tool is a quick way of filling in shapes. If you remember, shapes are where a line crosses over itself. So any place these lines overlap, it's going to create a shape. So let's see. We're going to find your swatches window. So if you go to your window menu, scroll down and select swatches, that will come up with a bunch of swatches. The swatches are little squares that tell you what colors you can select. You can always get more direct selective about your colors by double clicking on your fill, and you can get way more intense about selecting colors. But I'm going to show you how to create a color swatch library. I'm going to show you this lots more times throughout the trimester, but just for this very first introduction, go to your color guide. So that would be if you have a color window open, it would be the next tab over. If you don't have that open, you can go to Window and Color Guide and select that. And let's say, so I'm like obsessed with hot pink. So I'm going to choose hot pink. And then up in my color guide, it gives me a color family based on hot pink. And I can choose that drop-down menu and look through some of these. They give you a lot of different color families in there. So you'll learn what these mean in the future, like complementary, split complementary. But find, it doesn't matter what they mean right now, just find one that you like, a color palette that you like. So say I really like this analogous color palette. And I am going to well, I thought I was going to do something. Oh, I'm in the layers. Dang it. So with this color guide selected, so once you find a color palette that you like in your color guide, you can go to this little menu on the top right. So we'll say hide options, edit colors, save colors as swatches. And so I just did that, save colors as swatches. And now down in my swatches panel, down here, I have swatches of those colors. So you can use color guide will apply to any color that you choose. So say you like this cyan color, this bright blue color. Now they've just changed my options according to that blue. So you can choose another color palette using that blue. Does anybody need help finding a color palette they like or adding it to swatches? All right, so now I have a color palette that I love, and I have my hot air balloon that I want to fill in with colors. So I'm going to select my hot air balloon. Okay, so do you like this color combination? So what I'm going to do, since your swatches panel, and this is the back of the menu. And say save colors and swatches. So now, there's your swatches. I will make this bigger. They're there. Okay. So this guy, I'm gonna drag, select all those. So selected. You can use your arrow keys now, or you can just. So this is good. This is selected. Keep it like this for the next step. All right. So I have all of my lines selected. We're going to use our live paint tool. So down here, about halfway down on the left side, there's a live paint tool. It's hidden under the shape builder. It says live paint bucket. This live paint bucket wants to fill in shapes Oh, I don't know why. It wants to fill in shapes with specific colors. And shapes are where lines are overlapping. So see how there's three little swatches above my paint bucket? You can use the arrow keys to go back and forth through those. And you can select which colors you want down from the swatches palette too. So I don't know which that first pink was, but I think it's this one. So I'm just going to click and if you want to change what color you're going to use, so now I'm going to do another color and do that through. If you don't have your line selected in the beginning, it won't know to make that the shape. It won't know to make the live paint group. So you're going to click through and fill in all these shapes. Oops. So then you have a beautiful, colorful